Bonjour mes amis, hi guys, I keep on doing collection reviews for other people. Maybe it's time I do my own and ask myself the tough questions, because unfortunately I don't have just these 4 watches. There's a whole bunch we're gonna go over. And yeah, it's a weird thing. A lot of people like me, there's phases where you expand the collection, phases where you can't stand it anymore, and you want to reduce. Although I do see that it's okay to have to collect certain watches just for the pleasure of collecting, and then to have other watches just for the pleasure of wearing. You don't have to wear them all the time. And sometimes it's just fun to collect, for whether you like to collect some complications, different looks, different brands. There's all kinds of way we can collect watches, of course. But the problem is when you put so much money into something, into certain watches, and maybe at a given price bracket, well, you can't really expand to the next price bracket. And often we think, okay, we all have to go up and up and up. Having said that, I like sports watches because they're very usable, especially here in Hong Kong. And when it comes to sports watches, I mean, you going up from Rolex, where you get into, I guess, the Royal Oak and the Nautilus. We know prices are a bit crazy. I think my grail would be 5712 Nautilus, you know, the one with the power reserve, circular date, and a moon phase and small seconds. At the same time, it's such an expensive watch to get into. I never felt quite comfortable paying more than the price of a car for one single watch. And as a sports watch, it's still very fragile. It's beautiful when it's brand new, but am I gonna be ready to put a bunch of scratches in it? It's just a mindset. I also like the 5164. That's the Aquanaut travel time. Pretty cool watch, but again, same reservation, and it's on a strap that can't be. I mean, there's no extension to it. I think Rolex is really the king of the sports watch, which is why maybe I don't feel a need to sort of consolidate, and also why I've been adding so many watches in the same kind of price bracket and lower, because I do enjoy a lot Tudor. One of the watches I've been wearing the most, and that I think is the most special in among any watches, not just the Tudor watches, is the Blackberry ceramic, because this has there's nothing that can compare in the Rolex lineup. Maybe the Gmt Master Twos, you know, white gold, very luxurious, but there's nothing like this. So it's a 41 millimeter Black Bay, but in ceramic, so it wears light, and being all black and sleek, it feels so good on the wrist. Pairs down the effect of mass, the impression of mass of a Black Bay, and I wear this almost every weekend. I mean, you put this on a Friday, it's pretty much amagnetic, can't scratch it. Yes, you can shatter it, but then anything that falls on concrete is going to get really damaged anyway. Of course, the steel is not going to shatter, but it will be very damaged. Yes, you can shatter this, but I don't think it's likely to happen in any way. Tudor can give you another case, right? It's going to cost a bit, but anyway, beautiful bevel, super anti-magnetic. Can't really scratch it on a daily basis, which is a great watch to go to the beach and just be around the kids and do some activities. And I really love it on this super high quality Tudor fabric strap. Ever since I put it on it instead of the sort of rubber mixed type of band that it comes on originally, I've just loved the watch, and with the beautiful and one of the best bezel actually in the business. Super great feeling click. I really recommend this one because, of course, it's a black base, so at the origin there's a bit of the oyster case familiarity. But apart from that, everything else, it's a manufacturer movement, blacked out, super cool. I love the look of those indices, and yeah, there's nothing that says Rolex anymore. Everything is Tudor through and through, and it's the one that people are sort of sleeping on, I suppose. I think it's not easy to find at the shop, but second-hand prices are very reasonable. Everybody is very much focused on the Blackberry 58, which is a great, amazing watch, but feels a bit more like you're getting a baby Rolex, right? It's well, a recreation of what it would have been in the late 50s. Absolutely a beautiful watch. I love this angle on the watch. I've put a lot of scratches in mine, and I'm thinking, yeah, I'd love to have like the 58 bronze, for example, but I feel that this is a lot more special, and the bronze is going to be another problem, you know, when it turns color and everything, you know, the whole discussion. When it tarnishes, you know, you can't have them all, and this is the one I really love, and the one I really recommend. So this one really stays in the collection because I wear it so much. It means something. Now the core of the collection, I think you have to have a good diver. Well, obviously this is one of them, and yeah, maybe I wear it a lot more than this excellent diver. But you gotta have a good diver, good GMT. Just got my Gmt Master Twos 16760, a great chronograph, Zenith Chronomaster Sport, and a great dress watch. The ultimate dress watch, obviously, is the Patek 5296, descendant of the 96 reference. This one being a bit bigger at 38 millimeters with a sector dial that changes color. It's one of people's favorite. You know, when I ask people what is your favorite watch in my collection, often this one is the choice. Just a gorgeous dress watch, and if you have to have just one, rose gold. Absolutely gorgeous on the original strap. I don't wear it as much as I should, perhaps, but I do wear it, and I really enjoy it. It's very flat, and it's fairly broad, yes. So on my wrist, 17 centimeters. That's a great one, and I think that should always stay in a collection. But on a daily basis, the most usable dress watch, I don't think you can beat the Datejust. Datejust 41, especially, super slim down from the Datejust 2 models, although both are around the same diameter, but much slimmer here on a beautiful Jubilee. Great clasp. And I play tennis. I love tennis. Last night I was watching the final of Madrid, and yesterday I played tennis again. The Wimbledon dial, I think it will remain one of the most special ones with the green surrounds, and you still have enough lume to see at night. This one I wear all the time, and it feels so good. This one is a no-brainer to me. Keep her in the collection. I mean, it's great to have the Patek and the Datejust, and I guess the Rolex equivalent really of the Patek would be the Cellini. Great watch, but again, you can't have everything. And the great thing I did is when I got this Patek, it sort of cured me from wanting to get the Jaeger LeCoultre sector dial or any of the master controls. It cured me from wanting too many other things into the dress watch department. And yeah, that's one cool thing, you know. Go for Grail, and then you will not tend to accumulate too many things. But they just, to me, that's the benchmark in terms of watches. Absolutely wonderful. In terms of sports watches, the tool watch of tool watches, really the Swiss Army knife of watches is for me the Sea Dweller. This is the Sea Dweller 4000, as it's called, 4,000 feet, 1,200 meters. This is one of the shortest produced references from 2014 to 2017, produced along the Submariners. People didn't want to pay up, apparently, the premium to have the extra capacity, which is obviously not used by many people, if any. But I love the sea dwellers because they're a bit more special. And the reference one previously, the 16600, is the longest produced reference, I think, of any sports models. And this is one of the shortest. Prices have shot up quite a bit, some 30% since I got it. And yeah, no Cyclops on the date, fully graduated bezel, and it is very modern. You have the glide lock, you have the ceramic, chromalite, super accurate, and it looks very petite from the top. It's only 40 millimeters, been replaced afterwards by the 43 millimeters red line, which is very cool too if you have the wrist for it. But this, I always feel the Sea Dweller is a bit more special. You know, if you can't get the Submariner, well, look at one of the 5-digit references or the previous Submariner, or look at the Sea Dweller 5-digit. There's tons of them, and the prices hover around the $10,000 mark. Still very reasonable, but this one, it was a no-brainer. I got it right on time before prices rose. And really loving it. I have the card with it, and it was mint when I got it. Now a few little marks, little wear marks. You know, if I have to have just one for the apocalypse, definitely this is the one. And I'm almost bothered that prices are going up because I want to be able to enjoy the watches without too much worry. But yeah, this one, Stone Cold Keeper, and is the benchmark for any diver, obviously, in my collection. And yet, like an idiot, I keep on buying Seikos. You know, if we do a little Seiko diversion, I had to have this anniversary model because of the. It's not even my favorite Seiko model. I prefer the Willard, but I had to have the 62 mass because it's a beautiful dial, but it's incredibly inaccurate. Awful movement in those ones. Around the Rolex, you know, I'm a stickler for accuracy, and the Rolex and even the Patek, for that matter, are very accurate. Now, staying with Rolex, you know, the Gmt Master 2, that's the benchmark for all GMTs. Let's not kid ourselves. And finally, I added this 16760 that was recently serviced by Rolex. Rolex polished and everything replaced. Yeah, I lost a bit of the obviously the vintage character. You know, I understand that it's great to keep everything vintage. At the same time, you might want, these are tool watches from Rolex, and when they go back to service, they put it back to modern spec, and they don't want you to let the watches rot, right? And this is what you get back when Rolex gets its hands on it. I'm fine with it. I bought it that way. And this is what I wanted, a very usable but interesting reference. This is the first of the Gmt Master Twos. So the service dial has the stick markers. So the Gmt Master 2, the 2 there, 2 straight bars, no little horizontal bars on it. So it's a bit more special as well. I wanted to have that as well. And it's a Coke. And I think the Coke is the coolest. You know, there's so much talk about the Pepsi. To me, it was cool to have something a bit different. It's discreet, fantastic tool watch, very comfortable, very slim on the wrist. Although it's nicknamed the Fat Lady because it's fatter than the 16750 previous model. Before it got all the improvements on the movement, the sapphire, and everything else. And this one, yeah, super accurate. I mean, it's after a full long weekend. I got it, last Thursday or something. So 5-6 days, it's still within 5 seconds. Ridiculous. And that is why you buy Rolex. And that is why, you know, you can let your old GMT Masters rot and keep them vintage accurate. Or you can choose to let Rolex bring them back up to their spec. Love it. And yeah, once you get the grail, you know, this, that's it. It stops the thinking, you know. I don't crave anymore for any Gmt Master Twos. If I can get one of the modern ones, fantastic, awesome. Then I will have a problem deciding which one I like the most. But I think the old ones, everybody will agree they have a certain charm that is carried out into the Tudor range. Well, speaking of Pepsi and the Tudors, you can see the familiarity in the font used and everything, but much bigger watch. This is the Blackberry Gmt. Obviously now, if I have to reduce the collection, probably I would like to pass this on, hopefully to a friend. This one has been really good, very accurate, no issue at all. Get it early 2021, post date issues. Beautiful watch, and as I said in my comparison of those, there's something great about the mass of it. And in my great sickness about acquiring watches, I also got the root beer recently, which is a bit of a different animal. Looks amazing. Love the colors. They even faded. They have a full fade on the date, which matches perfectly the loom. Slightly faux patina on the loom, but not too much. Tudor are the masters of colors, and even the yellow gold is not that yellow. At first I wasn't in, but the second time I saw it on the wrist. So this one, for now it's a keeper. But yeah, if I have to choose, I just keep the Rolex, and this would have to go because it's not a cheap watch. You know, it's 40,000 Hong Kong dollars. But yeah, it brings a two-tone in the collection. Two-tone sports watch can do everything because this is a dive watch at its heart. Moving on with the Zenith here, Chronomaster Sport. Finally I got the white dial. This one is perfect, everything perfectly aligned. They can have some little problems sometimes, even the reset, but just a beautiful watch. I think it's the most beautiful watch. I love those colors. It always matches what I wear, you know, a lot of blue, bit of gray, the black, and you know, this white dial version. I had the black dial before, but this white dial, it's just fantastic. And as a chronograph, it's amazing, you know, high beat, with a foudroyant tenth of a second. You get the date, very discreet date. Just love everything about it. And of course you have the display case back on the nice movement. It is a very, very cool watch. Just a home run by Zenith. And yeah, as I said, addresses everything I thought was lacking in a Daytona. If I was to put so much money into one, I'd still one day love to own a Daytona. I'm thinking two-tone Zenith 16523, if I'm not mistaken. It might happen. We'll see, but I would have to consolidate the collection a bit before paying so much, because that would still be the most expensive watch that I own. Now, one of the least expensive, but the first least expensive luxury watch, but it was my first luxury watch, and I keep it because my son loves it. It's very easy to resize, and yeah, I'm thinking he's saying keep it for me, you know. But he's only 8 years old, so I have to keep it at least another 8 years before he enjoys it. It's a striking watch, very beautiful, small, great AR coating. It's got all the bells and whistles, the modern stuff from Omega, coaxial, silicone, hairspring. You get a discrete date as well, good loom, does everything, but it's based on the Valjoux. I think inside is the caliber 3330, which is based on the Valjoux, and the rotor spin is just insane on this watch. You really feel it a lot. I've been half tempted to sell this quite often. I'm just thinking, yeah, is it worth keeping it so long just to pass it on? You know, fair question, I suppose. This one has been discontinued, and I think this format is great. It's smaller than what they do now for the racing, so not that I think it's gonna blow up in value, but I think it's very cool and everybody needs a Panda. Panda. Well, staying with Omega, this is a keeper forever. I've had it for I think 4 years. Got it on my birthday with the full set, brand new, great price, like 3,000 US. What a steal! It's the Moonwatch Hesalite. Just love it. Just amazing for me. I love the way it wears, the feel on the wrist, the look. I can never get enough. Some people get tired of theirs and then buy another one. To me, this is forever in the collection, forever amazing. And Yeah, it's one of those foundation pieces that there's no way I'm gonna sell that, and it's a bit. Sometimes you can say it's holding someone back in the, from buying something else, but no. This to me, and it is a great yin and a yang with the Zenith, manual wind, black dial, automatic white dial, full bells and whistles. This one very simple, rugged caliber. I think they coexist great together. Next, I forgot one more Rolex, one more foundation piece. My Explorer. I bought it at retail before everything disappeared. It was there at the shop. I wasn't even thinking of it, I was thinking more fancy Rolex, and then found it, hesitated 5 minutes, and then and I bought it, and it's my best wearing watch. Love the format, 39mm, and everybody's hammering on about how the Explorer has to be a 36, like it has become again now. I can't wear a 36 in the Explorer format. It's too small for me. I don't like it. Some people just hammer on about how that's the classic size. Who says so? To me, this is it. And discontinued, price is up. There you go. Proof is in the pudding. Just such an amazing piece. Such an amazing piece. I just adore it. And great, very comfortable at night. I love to have the Easy Link. I use it every day when I use the watch. Moving on, I think you gotta have a Jaeger-LeCoultre. You gotta have a rectangular watch, and I have two rectangular watches. A lot of people hesitate between Cartier and Jaeger-LeCoultre. Well, they're so different that I think these two can coexist in my collection. Let's start with the more complicated one, the Jaeger. This is the back, this is the front, so it's a dual time. On these versions, you had the pusher still on the side to change the dual time. Manual wind. This is the Grand Sport reverser with one of the best bracelets in the business. Dual trigger, little extension on each side. It's ridiculously over-engineered. Watch my full review of this and all the other watches on the channel. Beautiful architecture. I mean, just for this, look at the architecture of this watch. It's one of those pieces in my collection that are really interesting. If I go to a watch meet, or if I don't want to have the Rolex on the wrist like everybody else when I go out, but I still want something rugged, a sports watch, with Lume. The Lume is still working. I got this mint full box from Chrono24 not last year. I used to have the chronograph version, very cool piece as well. And here I have the dual time. And so I bring this, because this is just everything that I like about watches. It's interesting, it's usable, it's comfortable, it's got lume, I can wear it all the time, dual time, interesting complication. It's almost the definition of the perfect watch. It has got reasonable water resistance, I think probably 50 meter. Got the date, small seconds, day night indicator here, and yes, sometimes the time is a bit harder to set or tell exactly what time it is, because there's a lot of gaps in the dial, but it's part of the charm with those beautiful numerals. And of course you have the party trick, everybody loves it, with a beautiful finish on the sub dials. Incredible piece. Incredible piece. The side pusher is for the date, by the way. So this, while I don't have to have it, it's a bit peripheric to a core collection. If it was my only watch, I'd be probably cooler than having the Rolex and that everybody has, right? So this is the one I wear when I have a date with my wife, or when I meet watch guys or non-watch guys, and I don't want to shove another Rolex in their face. I wear that, and I know that I have a cool watch, but most people won't recognize what it is. They can tell it's well made, but it's not an ostentatious display of wealth, which I think is good. When the day just here, I mean, I don't really like shoving this under the nose of I don't know, a waiter or somebody at McDonald's. You know, when I pick up. It's the kind of things I think about when I walk around town. Now, speaking of peripheral and ultra cool, amazing Calatrava Patek Philippe 5134 dual time. It's technically a travel time. You have your home time, and then you have the pushers to adjust the travel time. But I use it as a GMT, keeping European time on the subdial here. Kind of functions also like a regulator watch with a 3.9. It's one of the best configurations of this watch. I think that the best one, the most balanced one. It's very discreet sector dial as well. The yin and the yang with my other Patek, because rose gold, white gold, automatic, manual wine, date, no date, different complication. Both have the very different style of sector dial. This one has the crown guards as well, so although it's 36, it wears a bit bigger, and especially with the pushers. Really the yin and the yang. And if I have to keep one, it's probably the 5296. But this is such an endearing watch, beautiful to look at, and I have it right now on summer shoes. I have the original. I have the full set. I got it mint for a great price. You know, it's one of those watches that came to me at a great price, and if I sold it, I could never get back into it. Probably I had actually sold it to a dealer, and nobody wanted it, so I bought it back from him, gave him a bit of extra money, and he was happy to get rid of it again. Funny how things go. And yeah, I've sold as many watches as I own. That tells you that I do sell watches. But this one, yeah, very, very cool complication, very special, and so much more elegant than all the monster watches. So yeah, I could let it go. I could go a bit more mainstream, but at the same time, this and the Jaeger are just ultra cool, right? I forgot to talk about the Cartier after the Jaeger. This is a Cartier Tank, but not your actually overpriced steel models with an ETA inside. This is actually a very fine Cartier, white gold. Another one that came to me, I saw it in a window for weeks, if not months, and nobody would buy that. People look at the Rolex around them, and nobody realizes that this was so underpriced, undervalued, and go find the difference between this and the CP version, you know, the Cartier Privé version. This has the beautiful, I'm gonna have to zoom in, look at the beautiful dial, blued hands, the Cartier there. There's hardly any difference with the CP versions, and I have beautiful shoes made for it with the original, of course, glass. Look at it. I think inside is it's manual wine Frédéric Piguet movement. The reference is 1736 if you're interested in finding something like this, but I don't think you're gonna find one at the price that I paid. Just a stunning watch, and on the wrist, it's one of those watches, you know, for all the very generic, not generic, but very run-of-the-mill, very well-known watches that I have. One of the ones that when I put it on the wrist, make me feel really special, really different. I'm really like a lover of watches, and just like the Jaeger LeCoultre, it is a very special feeling. Once you get the strap, the right strap for it, the way it wraps around the wrist, it's like nothing else. And the beautiful design. I think everybody should have a Cartier, and this one definitely staying in the collection. Very, very enjoyable piece. All right, what else do we have? Let's go way down market. I had to have the PRX. I get 3 colors. I have a black one, the green one, the blue one. I think I'm going to keep the blue and sell the black and the green. But shows that at every price point you can have a wonderful watch, great bracelet, wears amazing, good fun, but yeah, It's yeah, great fun, really well done. After all, what else? What else would you want? What else do I have? A couple of. I'm gonna have to sell a few watches, right? But I've been keeping all this time the no date original OG reissue before everybody were doing reissues. This is it, the Longines Legend Diver. Quite big, very long lugs, with that very cool super compressor look. At some point I need to sell a few things if I want to be able to afford something else that might come up this next year or in the coming few years. I can't keep everything. I wish I could. This is very cool. If somebody in Hong Kong is interested, you can shoot me an email, but it's on a carousel here in Hong Kong, so you can always reach me there. Otherwise, email uptickwr@gmail.com. No, I'm not going to ship it abroad. It's a huge box, so if you want it, you have to be here in Hong Kong. Likewise for this Super Marine Master. Look, beautiful, but yeah, I can't keep everything. Again, crazy loom, crazy polishing, crazy quality, and a beautiful dial. But I don't want to have that much money tied up into something that I don't wear that much. Now, my favorite Seiko is perhaps this one, the reissue of the King Seiko. Wonderful. I mean, that's the grammar of design of Seiko. Wonderful. Man, it stands its ground next to, I'm sorry to say, to a Patek Philippe, man. It's almost more beautiful. And it's not Grand Seiko, but there's a lot of elements of it which are Grand Seiko level. And it's a good movement. It's the 6L, not the 6R garbage movement, let's face it. 6L. Yeah, if I have to keep one Seiko, that's the one, although I still have a few, you know, the Alpinist, the Saabs. I don't have them with me here. But this is very special. Yeah, do you keep one of these when, you know, it's, what, 2.5 grand worth of money that you could put into something else? If you have the Patek, that's a bit more show off, do you keep that or not? Now recently I bought a couple of these. This is early 90s. I have one for the late 90s with the Luminova. This is tritium. This is the Omega Speedmaster Date Japan edition. Super cool. Reverse Panda, very small, 38 millimeters. It's not, as you can see, the pushers are aligned with the crown. It's not a reduced, totally different. This one is based on a Valjoux integrated chronograph. And very cool. The other one is at service, actually. Problem with the chronograph. The other one actually is like mint. Probably needs a bit of oiling. It happens, right? And that's another problem with keeping too many watches. It's one of the main things I wanted to say is that the more you keep, and these days we all buy a lot of things, service is going to creep up on you and it's going to get expensive, you know, on something like the Zenith and all that. Past the warranty dates, be careful holding too many of these. And it's one of the things I'm thinking about what Bruce Williams was saying. I've collected the experience, time to move on, because otherwise you can't collect other experiences. And if something really nice comes up, really great, you know, I could have had the Day-Date white gold olive dial, but I didn't have the money ready. I would have had to sell a couple of things quickly, and to sell things, it has to be things that are sellable. The Pateks are sellable, the Rolex are sellable, but a lot of other things, you take a big hit if you try to sell them fast, especially to a dealer. So it's one of the things I'm thinking. I've collected the experience with many things like this little Seiko speed timer. We get excited about it for about 5 minutes and then I never wear it, to be honest. And I got the other one, the yellow dial and gold dial, and I'm going to give it away. Because it's unsellable. It's unsellable. You take such a hit, what's the point? Just might as well give it to a nephew and make them happy. That's about it. I have a whole bunch of other little Seikos. I'm gonna give a few away. I have a nephew who loves to have who loves green, so I'm gonna give him my green Seiko. Sorry, Simon, I know you still love yours, and a very well made watch. This one is gonna go to my nephew when I go back to Belgium. Don't tell the customs, okay? You know, I have the old samurai, always kept it because I love the case. I can't wear everything, you know. I'm not going to keep everything. Likewise, there's no resale value for Maurice Lacroix. I can't. But again, if you're in Hong Kong, shoot me an email, uptickwr@gmail.com. If you want to buy this one, make me an offer. Otherwise, yeah, I'll give it to one of my nephews, and then they can start. Yeah, I mean, share the love of watches. And one watch I wasn't going to forget. I keep it in the winder. So annoying, and actually I forgot to turn on the winder, so now it stopped. There's a problem with those, and it stopped between dates. Yeah, it's between dates. The date clicks a bit further down. This is the Zenith Chronomaster T with the full calendar, 38 millimeters. It's ridiculous that nobody else. Oh, great winding feeling. Nobody can do anything better. The Breitling Datora is huge. The JLC full calendar is huge as well. And look what Zenith could do. Beautiful little movement. Of course, the El Primero. High beat. I mean, there's no response in the business. High beat chronograph. Feel good pushers. And the full calendar, which is very readable. Let me click in the date. I hate to see it like this, but yeah, you want to keep this on a winder like any calendar. The biggest joke in the business to me is the perpetual calendar. Manual wind from Patek. I love it. I would love a 5270, but it's only perpetual if you wind it every couple of days, you know. And the and for the annual calendars with which are automatic, it's only annual, you know, if you wear it all the time. If it stops, then you have a bunch of annoying side pushers to push and recalculate the moon phase because it's not synced by a pusher like Longer does. So and if you have to do that all the time, it means throughout the year you'll be pushing 100 buttons. And the whole point you bought it in your mind was to never have to interact with it, you know, apart from the winding. So it's really the dumbest thing and the biggest joke in the business. So be careful if you buy a calendar, because you have to keep it on a winder all the time, or reset it all the time, recalculate the moon phases if you have a big collection, if it's not part of your main rotation, and it defeats the whole purpose, right? And it's going to wear down the watch if you keep it running all the time. So the service cost is going to get quite high as well. But yeah, as far as it as a chronograph calendar watch go, this is the best thing you can find from Zenith. And the way they stepped the bezel and the crystal itself is really pares down the mass, makes it look very small, very elegant, much more expensive than it is. I think it's great bang for the buck for around 4,000 US. A great watch, but sometimes I have half a mind to sell it, and sometimes I think it's one of the best watches you can buy. So there you go. It's getting very long to do an SOTC with me, but I wanted to share a bit everything. Wanted to share my thought process. What am I thinking right now? Is it have I collected enough experiences with some of these watches that it's time to move on to be able to collect other ones, or is the collection complete and I can stop talking watches and shut down the channel? We will see, guys. Let me know what you would do. Which are your favorites? Would you sell everything and get a 5270 or maybe a longer datograph, or a 5712 for example? You know, beg Thierry Stern to let you buy the Grail watch. So many ways this can go, but anyway, it's all good. It's all pleasure, as long as it doesn't feel like it's a chore, right? To keep all these watches and to service them and store them in a safe place, which is another conversation. All right, thank you guys for watching, and speak to you in the next one. Bye bye.